There we go.
Okay, so thank you, Auntie Nicole, for always doing a fantastic job assisting us with these projects. Dr. Lose, thank you for agreeing to do this with us. As you know, this is one of those opportunities for us as a department to brag about our products, and truly you're one of them. You know, I still remember when you would keep quiet all through a lecture, and that cost me later on, to provide some clarity on something, And look at you today.
I'm still shy, by the way. I'm still a shy guy.
No, of course I do know that part. I mean, you've always been a shy guy, but a smart one at that, a smart, sharp guy. So you see, what we're trying to do is to gather some feedback from those of you who worked with us as students, so that we can tell the world, especially our students, so that they can learn from what you've gone through, your experience, because we particularly believe that this sort of engagement would help our students to understand, one, the value of entrepreneurship, two, the value of academia, being serious with the academic work. And so folks like yourselves who have done fantastically well would share your experiences. And as I indicated, thankfully I sent you some prompts, some questions. But it does not particularly mean that I'm going to follow those questions, but I'm not going to provide any shockers. Don't worry. Okay. So let me allow you to introduce yourself, please.
I must say, it's not an interview, it's a conversation, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. A conversation. Right.
Yes. So go
thanks, thanks, Prof. Chooks. As you indicated, I was one of your students. I did my first year, 2010, under CPUT, Department of Entrepreneurship. The gentleman who was there at that time was Professor Okupere, one of our HOD prior your tenure there. Yeah. So I've been involved with small business development for over 10 years, because at CPUT I was not a full-time student. I was a part-time student, from 8 to 4. I was working for ESCOM, and then around small business environment as well, specializing within energy efficient services. And then later on, I will join your class, from first year up to, to my PhD program. So I've never been a full-time student. I'm saying that because, we have so many students that they don't believe that they can be somewhere if maybe they are part-time. They see themselves, less fortunate than the full-time student, So I've been around entrepreneurial space for quite some time. I was there. I've never dreamed to be around entrepreneurship. I didn't know entrepreneurship in high school. I wanted to study marketing, but they said that marketing course is full. So they were like, hey, here's entrepreneurship is available. And then I was like, why is it available? Is it a cheap course or what? Why all other courses are full, and then this one it's there's less folks who are interested in it. Guess what? Then I enrolled for the diploma, and then little did I know that's where the passion was, that's where the love was. And then you guys used to tell us about, this. Do we know the value of this course, entrepreneurship? You started quoting, the top rich guys in the world, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs at that time. Even, you told us so many things, and then we got so, jubilant, so happy about it. And then I fall in love, and from there, from the skill that I got from class, I started my own business in 2014, which is still operational from now although I extend my skills, with Walter Sisulu University at this juncture. I worked for the government for 3.5 years. Then WUSU recruited me, so I'm heading the Center for Entrepreneurship Rapid Incubator at this juncture at Walter Sisulu University. So I'll stop there for now.
All right, thanks. Look, I like your mention of this, that entrepreneurship seems to be a cheap program.
Absolutely.
Yes, and having graduated from the program and going ahead to acquire a doctoral qualification, what's your view of entrepreneurship right now? Is it still a cheap program?
Entrepreneurship, Prof, is the salt of life,
Thank you.
Things we consume, things that we watch, things that we wear are produced by entrepreneurs, So that's why I'm saying it's the salt of life. And then entrepreneurship, it's unfortunate that it's not taught at the early childhood. That's where it should begin, actually. We were not designed to work for someone, Prof. That's the fact. We're supposed to nurture the gift that we have. We're supposed to make it profitable. So the programs from the early, from the basic education, there should be a curriculum that we teach entrepreneurship, we teach people to monetize, we teach people to nurture their talent and turn into a business. So my view, because I never had that when I grew up, but now since I'm part of the ecosystem, I think it's something that should be taught from the grassroots, not only be taught at varsity, because we're now teaching so much about entrepreneurship at varsity, whereby we're already programmed. Now you want to go and study and go and work. Jobs are not there, Prof. The unemployment is high now. We need people. That's why the Center for Entrepreneurship exists now, because we're trying to nurture the student skill, because we have so many skills. Students, they go and do vocational training. They have skills that they can actually monetize. They can fix cars, some of them. Now at Mtata, if you know Mtata, most Mtata area is dominated by lawyers. With that, their skills, they own their own businesses. They don't rely on being employed by big corporate. Even doctors, they start their own surgeries. That's entrepreneurship, The marketing students, the beauty hair salon, people are starting their own business to grow. So that's the entrepreneurship, basically.
All right, thanks. Look, again, I heard you say that entrepreneurship should be started pretty early from basic education. All right, so let's agree that that's necessary. What about universities that would have just a department of entrepreneurship that looks after students in that particular department? What do you think universities should do, to create the interesting platform for every student to jump into entrepreneurship studies?
Awareness, Prof. The university students within the university must be aware that there is such program and there is such a department and there's such activities that is happening inside campus. Because if you can have a beautiful product or a service, but if people are not aware, they won't consume it. So what should be done is awareness. There should be training. There should be, a lot of aggressive advertisement that is being done to students to show them the need. And you have to go to reality, what is happening out there. Because sometimes as student, you get so focused on the degree, but you don't know what the world. You might find that maybe the current program that you're doing is being outdated out there. You must keep up to date with current trends. So you must be aware of what's going on today. And you need to be flexible as well, because when you get into the university, you might have a plan, but that plan might not work now because the world has changed now. if one person can, told you us that there will be corona and then we'll be locked indoors, you wouldn't believe that person.
Yeah.
You're like, are you mad? What are you talking about? So it's those unforeseen circumstances that really we need in life. You shouldn't be fragile, and you need to nurture that passion. You always have a vision. And I always say, even to my student or to my clients, sometimes you don't have to be good at anything. You just need to be driven. Being driven, you wake up every morning, even if you don't feel like, you pursue what you believe in. I don't know, but it's that tenacity that needs to be done, that training, that emphasis that, what, even if the university is against you, that belief, that's what should drive you. Some people are willing to give their life for your purpose, for that drive that you believe in. That's the entrepreneurial spirit that the universities, amongst entrepreneurship departments, should drive. And also, I remember we once had this conversation. I think I asked you, like, Prof, where are the alumni? Where are the guys you used to teach before us? Where are they in life? We as students, we need to know that, because me and you now, you might forget, but for that specific individual in class doesn't see or doesn't believe what they are actually doing, it's actually in the good cause. That's why people tend to drop out, because they were like, where are the alumni? So what you're doing now, someone can take it for granted, because one student who's doing entrepreneurship will see, actually, I'm not alone here. This guy was here, and now he's a doctor now. He's running his own business at the same time. And from it, I see, that's why I think that's what the one thing that I've learned is that being a part-time student allowed me to use my hours effectively and efficiently. Why so? From 8 to 4, even now, I do my 9 to 5. And then after that, I push my own side hustle, because I don't rely on one salary. So you need to drive that. And then people need to know that you don't need to give up your job to be an entrepreneur. My business is running. I've got someone that is managing it. I pay that person because I still feel like the university has so much more that needs from me to deliver to students. So I'm doing both. So that's one thing that I think universities should do. What you're doing, always bring the alumni, the industry expert now, people who've been there, so that the student, because one thing I know about the belief system, as you know, that the lion is not the tallest or the strongest in the jungle, but it's the king, because of the belief system. So once someone believes that, you can't take away that person's drive. So you need to instill that. The person can have all the necessary skills that the person require, but if you don't have the belief system, and then, as you know, that a leader, if a lion that is being led by a group of lion that is led by a sheep can be defeated by a group of sheep that is led by a lion. So because of the belief system, so that's what we all need. We just need that, the leader that believes in student, that the leader that turns, fearless student that they don't see themselves into warriors, because they see the value of what they are doing. So I think that's what universities should instill in students, because we lack leaders. We lack true leadership. There's so much now that is happening in our politics, whereby people want to be in politics not for good reasons. So we don't have such entrepreneurs that students can look up to and say, what, if I do right, eventually I'll come on top. I'll stop there for now.
Fantastic. Look, you've really struck a very important point here, and that is that universities have great roles to play in advancing entrepreneurial culture. Okay.
Yeah.
And if that culture expands, then one should be looking at a buoyant economy, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Good. But does the buck stop with universities only? I mean, you have worked in the business incubator space for a while. And one of the things I could very comfortably ask you is, if business incubators are in existence to support entrepreneurship, growth, development, why don't we have businesses surviving for longer periods? I mean, I can understand that universities they need to really come to the party. Yes, we agree.
Mm.
But the entrepreneurship ecosystem goes beyond just universities. I mean, you guys, the BIs, the business incubators are also there. So what should business incubators be doing that, in your view, that they are not doing at the moment?
Look, Prof, we always have this, belief that in order to be successful, you must follow a certain, 9 types of leadership or training manuals you should follow in order to be successful. Listen, you can tell me, and then you ask me maybe 5 ways of how to swim, and then you tell me, then I write it down, then I give it to you, then you mark me, then I get 100%. The question is, have I been on the field? If you drop me inside the swimming pool, you taught me everything, I will drown, Prof. I can tell you, you will pedal, you will do this, how you should breathe. I can tell you all the, you call it the theoretical side of swimming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then you drop me inside the water, I will drown. Same thing with the business. Sorry for that. Same thing with the business. We being taught and taught and taught, but we're not being trained to actually do what we are being taught. Education, it's very vital. For instance, if you know that during the day you're going to class, you learn, and then maybe in the evening you practice what you are being taught. So I think it's the same thing that is happening with business incubation, that we have trainings, we'll give you the office and stuff like that. You have to do what you preach, you have to practice it. And me and you might not know until when you're going to get a breakthrough. As you know, that top entrepreneurs in the world, they will tell you, like Mark Zuckerberg, they ask, how many hours do you work a day? It's like, it depends how you're going to call work a day, because every time I find a chance, I'm on my project. So there's no time frame with it. So you can't say for 8 hours work on days, which means as soon as, if it takes you you sleep 3 hours, you sleep 3 hours to work on your project. And I'm talking about actually doing what you want to do, because the same thing, that's why even with business plan now, there's so much going on, because what you plan on paper doesn't necessarily gonna be the same when you practice, So that's what business incubators should do. And I feel, as coming back to your question, they don't do. And also, I always tell people that we don't do business plan for you. It's your business. We're just giving you a conducive environment, an office space, an auditorium, a board to hold your meetings professionally. But it all boils down, it's on you. You can teach your kids, Prof, or you can take your kids to the best school. If they don't want to learn, they don't want to learn, So it still boils down to the personal drive, your inner drive. How bad do you want it?
Sorry about that. So you're saying essentially that it's also about the person wanting to get into the entrepreneurship space. No matter what we do, no matter what we have in the university, no matter what we have in the business incubator space, the person who has got to do it must be keen enough to pursue it. That's your point, right?
100%.
Now, yes, and that brings me to my next question. You did not know that you were going to end up an entrepreneur because you wanted to do marketing.
Never.
Right. So what got you into, becoming an entrepreneur? And this particular question, I believe, would unpack a few things for lots of our students who'll be listening and watching this much later, to be able to figure out how they can step into the entrepreneurship space. So what is it that any student who is perhaps confused about what area to go into should be doing, just like you?
I will speak for myself for now, and I'm sure from my experience, a lot of them might learn. Listen, that drive started when I didn't apply. I applied some universities due to points. I didn't meet what I was aiming to study. Then I studied at CBUT. I came very late. That's why I even maybe couldn't get into full-time program. Then I went to part-time. But the drive I had, I just didn't want to be in township. I just wanted to do something with my life. You understand? So that was the drive. Like, I can't be in township. I just finished matric. I need to study. I need to get my life going. So that's point number one. Then I got to varsity. I was happy. Then when I was there, you always ask yourself a reason. Why am I here? So I used to ask myself that, okay, I'm here to get a degree. So anything around me is secondary. I'm talking about partying, I'm talking about girls, I'm talking about anything that I didn't want anything to distract me, because my vision was clear. Why am I here is to get a degree and then go and better my life, because I understand. I grew up without parents, so I understand where I'm coming from. And then I've seen people, I've seen gangsters in my township. So that was the drive I had. And then in that, answering the question, I was like, okay, you want to get a degree. To get this degree, then who do I associate myself with, And then most of my friends, by the way, were Zimbabweans, in your class. So I started being closer with them because they were so serious. It's like the vision was the same, very clear about studying, taking education very seriously. Even my accent to a certain extent changed. And then I remember I used to ask me, are you from Zimbabwe? I'm like, no, I'm closer. Because I spent, so that tells you the power of association, because I was not aware my accent is changing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure I was struggling with English badly. Yeah. I'm sure used to mark my page. So what got me to that was that, and then the grades were improving, and then we used to talk a lot about making a living. Okay, we are entrepreneurs, but are we practicing what we are doing? Kelvin Matsawori used to tell me, you know what, my guy, let's do something. Let's start something. Let's find opportunities. How to find opportunities? Must identify a problem. From that problem, we solve. We used to go around. I remember even at Rez, I started selling some cigarette. When there's bash, we go to this Miss and Mr. CBUT. I used to there. I'm not drinking. I used to go there. I used to make a lot of money. One cigarette was 500. It was 5 rand rather. Remember, that was like in 2010, 5 rand one cigarette. So that's entrepreneurship. You start there, and then from there you start getting a qualification. You start having certain skills. Now people can come to you, draft business profile, business plan. So that's how I got up into entrepreneurship. And then opportunities do come as you go along. Then you venture to other government projects, because I was in government at that time.
Right. Thanks. Look, right. I remember vividly, you know, those days that you would accost me and try to get some clarity on what would have been taught in class. And I kept saying to you, it's okay to be shy, you know. And even if you're asking me those, you know, for some clarity, you are still shy.
I am. I am. I'm very, you know, it's very hard for me to express myself. I always, even today, I tried, but I just like to do things my own way, like myself, to keep myself, you know.
Right. Okay, so we're just about wrapping up. And the question I'm about to ask you now is a question that I normally ask my students, especially those at the postgraduate level. And when they want to go for, you know, when they want to conduct a study around business incubation, I will always ask them, which business incubation service type would you be examining? The government-owned business incubator or the private-owned business incubator?
Yeah.
And of course, you know, I get a mix of responses and justifications from the students. And oftentimes the justifications are quite enlightening, really. I mean, I must tell you this. As someone who's worked in the government sector business incubation space, and now you're in academia, in a university, and you're managing a BI, who should a budding entrepreneur go to? A government-owned incubator or a privately owned incubator?
It's a good question and a tricky one at the same time. Listen, number one, I would say it depends, where are you, your location. Because sometimes you might find that you're in Cape Town, and then to travel to a private incubator, it's far, so it's going to cost you, right? So it depends on the location, the resources that are available there. Then again, if they are there, I know private ones like Shanduka's and others. It depends, Prof. I can't say this one. Each private and public has its own advantages and disadvantages. You know,
Right.
You know, you can, you know, yeah, it's a tricky question to answer any, because I've worked with private, I've worked with the government one. Both, you know, it's always, I always encourage people to take responsibility, take full responsibility, because, you know, I would say 20% is about incubator, but 80% is upon you. Okay. You know, as soon as you know what you want, because what you want, you'll know if you're getting it in this incubator or not, because you know exactly what you want, the type of service. If you see that they don't, you know, align with what I want, you can get out of the program, because it's not a must to be there. You can ask them to graduate after 3 months, both private and government. You can do that.
Very well. Thanks. Now, we have allocated some responsibility for the higher education sector in training, in producing graduates who are entrepreneurially sound. We have also said that business incubators have a serious role to play in producing entrepreneurs who drive the economy. So let me ask you this. And you know that entrepreneurs' efforts manifest in a small, medium, or micro enterprise.
Correct.
Right. So what is it that businesses need to do? I mean, we've talked about what universities can do. We've talked about what business incubators can do, you know, to extend the existence of businesses. What is a business's role in extending its own life?
Look, firstly, I would say the environment, and environmentally that you are aware you must first be aware of your environment, right? And in business, you must consider more than just a profit.
Right.
You know, yes, you're in business for profit, but it's beyond, profit making. You must consider the impact that you're going to have as the business owner,
right,
to the society, to the community that you're in. Because are you making people's lives better? Because everywhere you go, you know it, these entrepreneurs, prominent business people, they are solving problems that are faced by the community. So that's what business, you need to look around you and find the problem. From that problem, you create a solution. From you creating that solution, it might be a product or a service. Then that's why your business is gonna. That's how you're gonna make profit, because people are not afraid to spend.
right.
As long as their needs and wants are being taken care of. That's where the profit is. That's where the business is. And you will sleep well at night because you are solving people's issues.
Yeah, but you got to solve the problems and also earn some returns on
Absolutely.
offering solutions.
And such business are very sustainable, because if you keep on solving people's issues, you also keep, getting profit.
Okay, good. And now this is perhaps the opportunity I allow folks like yourselves who come on board to to meet with us like this, to offer some suggestions on how you think, one, the economy can be improved, two, what students who would be listening and watching this later on would, some takeaway for them.
Yeah.
Right. So let's hear you suggest things you would expect. Some, how do you think we can grow the economy? How do you think students would have to, what sort of role, what should students be doing to add value
Firstly,
to society, and also keep themselves going, offer themselves their own employment, etc.
Yeah. Look, currently, with the, business landscape, globally, there are two things that are affecting, small businesses and incubation and everyone actually. And one, which is the pandemic itself, and the disruption that has been had to people's lives and businesses, and workers in general. People should have strategies depending on where you are sitting, because what is more important in life is what you see. If you see a problem, you're going to face a problem. But if you see an opportunity, you're going to see an opportunity. So whatever you call something, or whatever you see something, it's about sight. It's what you see. So I encourage people at this current juncture that whatever, because I always say that crisis is the incubator for creativity. So you've got to find ways, not the olden ways we used to do things. You've got to find new things of how to deal with the crisis. Because once you see crisis as an incubator for innovation and creativity, your problems becomes better, or what you are facing becomes better, because you always try to look for solution because you see it a problem. And then from there, you need to have strategies that will keep you going at night. For instance, I believe now social media and the TV has made us so dependent, or to be lazy thinkers, for lack of a better word, because we don't want to go off such things, Prof. We don't want to go off the media, off the social network, to go really and spend time with yourself and really know who you are and what you believe in. And then from there, that's where you will really know who you are. And when you know who you are, it's better to deal with the challenges that comes you. But I advise people to do everything that makes them uncomfortable every day. If you hate something, I encourage people to do it regardless. If I hate, you've seen my social media, I hate running. It's one of the things that I hate, but I can tell you I'm doing it anyway. Because when you do things that you suffer, in life you've got to suffer to be somewhere. I'm not saying suffering in terms of maybe you torturing yourself. No, 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 no. The things that you don't want to wake up, Prof. You know that it's not easy to wake up, but you've got to wake up. You know,
man, you gotta wake up. Yes.
You've got to wake up.
Yeah?
You see, so in life, if you find such things, do things that sucks every time, and then you will trust me. I don't even like people like calling me I'm a nerd, or like go and ask my lecturers. I don't like studying, but I've got to do it because I want to better my situation. So those are the strategies that I think people need to find. The simplest thing is find what you think sucks and then go and do it anyway, and then you're gonna see the results after. And then also make use of the technology, because people have this thing of, Professor Chooks, what is my passion? You always tell me I've got to find a passion. It's simple terms. Find something that sucks and do it anyway, and then that person will come later and tell you thank you. So that's my own philosophy of life, or the way I look at things. I find things that I don't want to do, I do them anyway, and then eventually I come on top.
Great. Look, I have really enjoyed this conversation with you, and I'm going to thank you profusely for agreeing to do this. I am certain that our students are going to benefit from it, and I am also certain that those in your networks would also find some lessons from this interaction of ours. But fundamentally, let me thank you for this particular quote of yours. Crisis is the incubator for creativity and innovation. I hope you don't mind me referencing you from time to time. I mean,
no problem. Knowledge is universal.
Thank you very much. I'll be using it. Thanks, man. So, Dr. Lose, thank you so much for doing this. And I wish you all the very best. And I do hope that when we call upon you again, that you will drop by.
Yeah, because we willing, Prof, at like zero cost to come and talk to, because we once there to your student. Thanks to Nicole as well. We've worked very well with her. So yeah, always try and get hold of these guys. Me, Kelvin, Matsaori, brilliant guy. So try and track that, because most universities are not doing that. Because we use
it's part of our project for now. It's part of our project. And something you forgot to mention is that you also lectured in the department.
Yes, of course.
Right.
And you like to groom your students. So it's one thing that I appreciate from you. So we are appreciative of that.
Thank you.
Who knows? Maybe I'll come back.
We will be happy to have you back. Trust me on that. All right, you take care now. We'll talk again real soon. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Prof. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.